Assalamu alaikum and good morning. Dear students of 7th grade, I welcome you all in English class. Today I'll give you understanding of a poem that is Night Mail by W.H. Auden. Okay students, after reading this unit number 3 that is based on poem, you will be able to read the poem with appropriate intonations. Intonations means a proper rise and fall of words. Then you will be able to identify a poem from main idea, lines and stanza. You can summarize a poem. You will be introduced about some literary devices which are very integral part of any poetry, and especially here is used personification, then auditory imagery, and similarity in some lines, so you will be able to recognize it. It is a rhythmic poem. Introduction. Here I want to give you introduction about the composer of the poem, who is W.H. Auden, and he was born on Feb 21, 1907 and died on September 29, 1973. He was an English-American poet. Auden's poetry is basically noted for its stylistic and technical achievements, its engagement with politics, morals, love and religion, and its variety in tone, form, and content. Students, this poem, A Night Mail, is basically about one train that travels at night. That's why this poem is given this title, Night Mail. Get it? Let's begin. This is the night mail crossing the border, bringing the check and the postal order, letters for the rich, letters for the poor, the shop at the corner, the girl next door, pulling up, it took a steady climb, the gradient against her, but she is on time. Here, gradient means slope, an inclined part of a road, and Bituk is village. So, in these lines, the poet describes the function of the night mail, which crosses the border to reach its destination. It brings checks and postal orders for all. It goes across the border, and it is surely a symbol of commitment, punctuality, and regularity. Night mail brings letter for both, for rich and for the poor. It doesn't show any discrimination, and it brings letters and check for a shopkeeper and for a common household girl. It reaches everywhere and influences everyone. Pulling up, we took a steady climb, the gradients against her, but she is on time. It means that night mail steadily climbs up the hills of Bituk, and it faces different barriers, different slopes against it, but it is always on time. It teaches us the lesson of determination and commitments. Next. Past cotton grass and moorland boulder, shoving with white steam over her shoulder, snorting noisily as she passes, silent miles of wind-bent grasses. Here, shoveling means moving quickly, and snorting is explosive sound which is produced through one's nose. In first two lines, the train keeps moving towards its destination. It passes through the cotton fields and rocky fields. It shovels white steam over its shoulder. and it is very consistent and determined in its work. Dear students, in next two lines, one literary device is used, that is personification. First of all, let me give you understanding of personification. Personification is a figure of speech in which an idea or thing is given human attributes and is spoken of as if it were human. So now in these lines you can easily recognize the figure of speech, personification, snorting noisily. Do you think the train can snort? This is human attribute that human beings snort while sleeping. So it is the use of personification here, because human attributes are given to other thing, that is train. And you can say here poet has used the figure of speech auditory imagery. Figure of speech personification and auditory imagery both are used here, because by listening this word snorting, uh, it can comes in your mind the voice of snorting. So auditory imagery is also used here. Auditory imagery basically is used to explain things or ideas or actions using sounds that appeal to our sense of hearing. So the poet uses auditory imagery to describe the journey of the train as it creates a loud snorting sound. Then it passes silently miles together, and it passes by the wind-bent cross in the field. Next. Birds turn their heads as she approaches, stares from the bushes at her blank faced coaches. Sheep dogs cannot turn her course, they slumber on with paws across. In the farm she passes, no one wakes, but a jug in the bedroom gently shakes. Dawn freshness, the climb is done, dawn towards Glasgow she descends. Slumber means sleep, approaches arrive, and Glasgow is a large city in Scotland. I'm sorry for the sound outside, it always disturb, but let's carry it on. Here, the poet describes the reaction of the birds as the nightmare passes nearby them. They just turn their heads and stares at its blank-faced coaches. Even the birds have learnt about its presence, and train influences the sheep and dogs. Though they are very watchful, yet they feel relaxed because of they have learned that night meal is not a danger for them. So they just sleep and don't try to change its course. And in final two lines, the poet says that night mail passes nearby the farms, and it may shake a jug in a bedroom but doesn't affect human sleep. So students, the language used by the poet is very simple but rhythmic. You can check it out in the poem. Hope you have enjoyed this poem, learn it very well. Thank you so much for watching my video.